Hello internet friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lindsay LiJo. Hello, welcome. If you're new here, what up? So today, a special episode here on my channel. A few wonderful humans who I've had the pleasure of knowing a long portion of my life are here to shed some insight, the inside scoop on what an INTJ is like at social gatherings. Now, you may have seen my last video where I had the personification of my functions at a social event, but this time you get to hear it straight from the people who have seen me in real life. Now, these wonderful humans, they're not in the typology scene, so I said to them, hey, I want you to answer these questions about INTJs, but use me as your reference point. If you guys would like to book time with me, I have opened up sessions for the following month, so you can do that below in my link for Snug, and we'll get right into this video.
How does an INTJ enter a social gathering?
The INTJ wants to come to the party as sneaky as possible, and if they were allowed to use the back fence or the back gate or back door to sneak into the pool.
Lindsay walks in a room as an INTJ, it's sort of like a, what's going on? Who's here? Do I know everyone? Is it safe? All right.
Usually with an eruption of cheers because she's so rarely seen.
The presence must be known for fear of not being counted in attendance later in the evening when the desire to be social has ended.
And touch his face so we can all say at the end of the night, yeah, she was there.
If you haven't seen an INTJ for at least an hour, you can most likely find them on the couch, away from the busiest crowds, interacting with a small number of guests.
From my experience, you'd find them in a corner on their laptop doing work, or some other extent of hiding.
Maybe she was the first one in the pool. Maybe she's found a quiet little corner and she brought her laptop and she's sneaking in a little bit of work.
Probably in a corner in a room, someone having like a really deep conversation, quite possibly talking them in or out of an existential crisis. Probably out of an existential crisis.
I feel like INTJs like water. It's kind of similar to a cave. It's a water cave, and you can escape their natural, the human, well, we won't go there, but they're an underwater moth, really, is what they are.
An INTJ seems to be having the most fun at a social gathering when she is leaving. Just kidding. Usually it's when she is having a meaningful conversation with a small group of friends.
Someone slips and falls. It sounds mean, but that is the truth. They're very good at watching chain reactions. You know, this happens and it causes this, cause and effect reactions. So they're constantly linking things together. And the more humor that is in that linkage, the happier they'll be.
I feel like INTJs really love intellectual conversations or conversations that are really deep in topic.
Small percentage of people talking about various topics.
She will definitely talk to you about other people's MBTIs, perhaps, to make some educated guesses.
The INTJ isn't usually interested in conversations about the weather, your mom, the price of tea in China, meaningless small talk.
See, that's a trick question because they're really not interested in any conversation, really.
The INTJ is not interested in petty gossip.
No.
Probably politics, but it's useless political conversations. Like someone talking about a subject they have no idea about.
For anything negative, such as politics.
Reactive conversations where it's like, oh yeah, totally. I saw that the other Instagram, TikTok. Oh yeah, I didn't really read it, but I saw it. Netflix, and it doesn't really do anything good for an INTJ to listen to that type of information. They would rather leave than have to raise their voice and be like some of those other people. They have to be loud, they're not going to do it. They would rather leave than get loud.
Finally, the INTJ leaves the party early in the evening, having worn out their social batteries fast, typically dragging any extroverts that rode with them to the dismay of the extrovert, of course.
I feel like it's always like an Irish exit, being the just like, where'd they go? I can't find them. They probably left.
She came alone, then she leaves silently without a big announcement.
A very logical, strategic exit and entrance for the INTJ.
If she's with her ENFP husband, she drags him out kicking and screaming, and it takes about 2 hours for them to leave.
The INTJ leaves the party at literally the most reasonable hour. It's like a signal to all of the other introverted people in the room that it's now safe to leave because the first person has left, and you're all welcome to go too. The E's are still going to be around for another few hours or days. You never really know.
And that is how an INTJ handles a social gathering.
But an INTJ is, I feel like they're always trying to calculate or predict like other people. I don't know if it's to avoid other people. You, Lindsay, will just straight up avoid conversations. Like at the grocery store, if I shoot up a conversation with the bag lady, like you'll just be at the door. Like you don't even care if you're like missing some groceries. Like you're just like, yep, done. And I'm like, Lindsay, you left the almond milk over here. But you know, I remember at first I would get pretty upset about that, but then I just realized like you're just not gonna have that conversation. And then I realized you were kind of awkward in those conversations anyways. You were like, yeah, I like almond milk. And we're just like, we weren't even talking about almond milk. It's like, okay, you're a weirdo in this conversation. And I'm like, Lindsay, what's wrong? Are you mad at me? And you're just like, no, and I won't believe you. I think you're mad at me, but you're like processing what just happened on some weird quantum physics level. And then everything will be all right once you compute it and say, You'll compute it by calculating how you're going to avoid it next time. That's what I feel like you're doing. And then you're like, yeah, I have a plan how to get out of that conversation next time. And then pretty much you do. If I'm joined in a conversation, especially about like politics, and I just want to see what the person wants to say or think, and I could care less, but I'm engaged in the conversation for more like conspiracy purposes, and you will straight up mean mug me when you do not want to be in this conversation, but you can't get out. Straight up. So expect that from an INTJ. If you care enough about them, you will get mean mugged. And it will say, help me, I don't want to be here, I'm ready to leave. And so you need to understand and read that face. For sure.